Scheduling instructional sessions is a job for instructor twos. So they have given you a training schedule, or if you are the person who schedules training in your department and you do the schedule, then you can use a schedule you've already created to fulfill this requirement. They again have included a training schedule page for you to fill out if that's not your job. Just make sure that you look over the skill sheet and you write a schedule for a minimum of 12 classes and so forth. And those 12 classes, since you're probably dealing with shift schedules and something that has to be taught to all the shifts, then if you schedule a class 3 times, that's 3 classes. Don't make it harder than it has to be. Okay, so the schedule must be completed for a minimum of 12 training course sessions. It needs to be the date that it's scheduled, the time it's scheduled, the topic, and who's going to be the instructor. If it is not your job to schedule training for your department, just think about your policies and procedures about when you have training and schedule, whatever you need to schedule. If you only have training, I taught one department that only had training once a month. And so they did their whole yearly schedule, the 12 times they were going to train during the year on this sheet. Some of you probably get way more than 12 trainings in a month. So however long it takes you to get 12 sessions in, that's what you need to put on this sheet. Okay, formulate budget needs and acquire training resources. You are going to analyze budget needs to present a firefighter 1 and 2 course within your department, and according to your training goals and your policy. They have a list here of the minimum equipment needed for the course. You do not, let me make this very clear, you do not need to write a budget for all of those items on the list. You may decide that there are some things that are disposable that you need to buy. Like, for example, you may need bales of hay to simulate ground cover fire, or you may need propane fuel for the props, or you may need to bring in cars for extrication. Whatever things that you might need to present a Firefighter 1 and 2 course, that's what you're going to be looking for prices on and gathering information for and so forth. Make sure that you look at these skill steps. The division again is going to evaluate this one. And here is that list of all the things required. Maybe your training unit only has one portable power plant. I don't know if you've ever evaluated Fire 1 and 2 students, but if you have very many students in class and you only have one portable power plant, that's going to take you all day to get through that one skill. So maybe you want to write one up for a power plant or something like that. Ropes and knots. Maybe your rope disappears on a weekly basis. So you may need your training rope, I'm talking about here. You may need some rope that you can give to the students and let them use or whatever. Just look it over, pick out a couple things, and write up what you need to write up here. The way you are going to do this skill is you are going to write a memo to whomever in your department is in charge of purchasing. And you are going to, these are just blank lines. You can do this on the computer. If you have some memo forms, by all means, go ahead and use those. But there are specific requirements for what you need to include. Hang on a minute, let me back up. Okay, your memo is going to explain the need. Why do you need it? How you want to get it, when you need it, and just whatever you need to tell him or her about these items so that you can purchase them. So again, the memo form is just for you to use if you need it. If you have another way to do that, you can. Just don't forget to include it in your package. Okay, and then this is your practical skill summary. And the division is going to finish this part. After if you've passed all those other things, these will all be passes all the way down. Okay, so that's your skills packet. As you can see, a great part of this is your project that you're going to be working on. And that's the part that we need to focus on as we go through all the rest of this class, is helping you get that project done. So I know you're going to have questions as we go along. I hope you will use the Ask the Class or the other discussions as we go along if you have questions, because if you have questions, others will have questions. So hopefully we can all get together and get through this all very smoothly.